It's time to blow your own mind.
Welcome back to the Lisa Nichols Show. Joining us for part 2 again is the one and only incredible Margaret Packer, Lisa Nichols, and myself, your boy Matt Gill. We were talking about just the past 20 years and reminiscing on some of the things that have occurred, some of the behind the scenes, the stories that people haven't heard of.
So now you got to tell everyone how you joined the team, because I think of anybody, with all love and honor, you have to have been the biggest violation on how you got on the team.
Still a violation at times.
Right.
So I was actually exposed to you through television. I saw you on the Starting Over House, and coming through a really dark place in my own life, and trying to move past the chaos and the hurt that I had created, and saw you on television, and just the way you spoke and the way that you empowered the women that were going through their challenges in their home really just connected with me. And I thought, I need to meet this lady. You're on television, and a lot of times you see people on television, you think you're never going to get to meet them. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get to see them, and how am I going to get there? And that was my first time of seeing you and what you do. And then The Secret came out, and a friend of mine gave me the movie The Secret, and there you were, popping up again. And randomly, about a year after The Secret came out, I got an email from a friend of mine. Hey, why don't you come on down and check out this show? It's a pilot for a TV show for a lady by the name of Lisa Nichols. I was like, why does that name sound familiar? And so I went online and did some research, and the very first video that popped up was Motivating the Teen Spirit. Wow. And it was the 14-minute video that just really showed what happens in the room with youth and families. And I, like just about anybody who watches that video, was just in tears of experiencing and seeing that moment. And as I watched that video, every part of my fiber in my body was like, this is what you're supposed to do.
You're waking up to your calling.
Yes. And I was like, this is like all that hurt, all of the chaos, all of those crazy choices that I made can be used for something good. Yes. And so I called my friend. I'm like, I need 4 tickets. I called my aunt. I called my 2 of my other friends. I'm like, listen, we're going to go see the taping of the show. We went down to the studios, and we were late. So I was pissed off. I was angry because I thought we weren't going to be able to get in.
And a lot of people didn't get in.
They didn't.
They were shocked at how many people showed up for the pilot. Remember that? People, the line was down around. People had driven in from Utah and Arizona and couldn't get in.
Yeah, it was. There was some mayhem going on out there, and fortunately, there was some VIPs that didn't show up, and we got to sit right directly behind your family. Oh. Margaret was right in front. Jelani was right in front. As a matter of fact, Jelani and I danced to Michael Jackson during one of the commercial breaks, and we had a little dance competition during the break, and so I just...
And Jelani was about 12 years old at the time. Yeah.
And just seeing you, being like, oh my gosh, there she is, within just a couple steps away. So right at the end of the show, as people were starting to stand up, you were standing on stage, and some of the crew was talking to you, and I knew obviously that I couldn't just go up to the set. But I kind of waited patiently as you were about ready to approach your family. And as I went to walk up to you, the security guard stepped in front of me and said, I'm sorry, sir, this is for VIP only. And I said, well, I just need to talk to her for just a real quick second. And he goes, I'm sorry, sir, this is for VIP. And did the very nice, polite, pushing, escorting out. And I was like, no, wait. I was getting angry because I was like, she's right there.
Right.
And so
I just need my 30 seconds.
Yeah, and so I told my friend, I said, I need you to distract the security guard. Ask him where the bathroom's at or something like that. And it just took a real quick distraction, and I snuck around the back side of the seating area. I climbed the scaffolding until...
Who scales the scaffolding? Who does that?
I had to get there, right?
Wants to meet Lisa
Someone who was determined for their life.
Yeah, yes. And climbed the stairs, got down in front of you, and I said, hi, Lisa, my name is Matt. I know you don't know who I am, but you won't leave me alone. You keep showing up in my life, and I saw the video of you and Motivating the Teen Spirit, and I need to be a part of that. And she didn't say anything to me at first, and I thought, oh. And then just you started welling up, and you had a little tear, and I thought, oh crap, what did I say? What did I do? You said, I've been praying that God would send me men, because a man can speak differently to a younger man than if a woman speaks to a young man. And you invited me to the FEP program.
Which is our Facilitator Empowerment Program to train.
Yeah. And there was just, even after that, there were so many just divine signs of that I was in alignment of what I was supposed to be doing. And
you were really broken and healing at that time. I remember how fragile he was? Yes. You were a wounded healer. But you had a lot of wounds that you were still healing from in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And you were clear. You wanted to use your healing for good.
Right.
And I was clear. I still needed to help you heal to get there.
Right.
And so it was a long journey. Some people come into this decision, this clarity, and I'm going to give it 6 months, 12 months. And how long between when you stood in front of me at that television studio and when you were on your own in front of a room of teens teaching? How long?
So just the training itself was 18 months for me. It was designed as a 12-month program. But it was 18 months before I was holding the space with another facilitator there in the room, but to a place where I could say, okay, I felt comfortable enough. Now, remind you, I didn't allow you in my room the first time.
I remember.
I said, I'm going to respectfully ask that you not show up because, your mentor, your coach is there. And I understood the gravity of what we were doing and the impact that we had. And so I didn't want to be in my own head and my own chatter. And so I just needed to get one and done. Yeah. And then, then it was like, all right, let me learn more.
Right.
But it truly was my place of healing, of learning to the same tools that we teach, applying them to myself, which is, I think, when we look at coaches, when we look at people that are in the industry, many of them aren't doing the work, which is very different from what you teach. Like, you need to be doing the work. You need to be working on yourself, especially if you're impacting other people's lives.
Right. So when you came on board, and a lot of times we think when we touch the work, everything changes for us.
Mm-hmm.
You still had some hard times.
Oh, yeah.
And, people ask, how did I go from government assistance to running the business that I run? It's the same thing on how you went from scaling that wall to now running divisions of my company. It's the same thing that how you went from choosing to walk away from an unhealthy marriage, and you gave yourself so much independence. And I witnessed you fight for your life. And your fight for your life was contagious. I mean, you made me want to be a better woman. You made me want to have more grace and compassion as a parent. You made me, you watching that. You also made me want to make sure that I created a safe space for people to come and heal. Because you were allowing me to be in that space with you. And when I first hired you, by the way, you are
employee number 1.
She tells everyone that.
Right.
Just don't forget. I was really scared because I knew your livelihood. You were saying, yes, I believe in you for my livelihood. And I was just like, I got to make sure she eats. And I was nervous. And then I disrupted your regular way of doing business because you went to an office. You had a desk. You had normal.
Yes. So let me
all
ask,
that was thrown out the window.
How did you? Because everybody wants a Margaret. Like, I think that's
They
one
should.
of they always ask, how do I find my Margaret? How did you guys meet? And tell us that story.
So I had met Lisa both of us through a mutual friend. And it's so funny that we're talking about it now because I'm remembering bringing Jade to Lisa's house.
Your daughter.
Yes, and Jade's going to be 18 this month. So I can't believe I've been with you for almost 20 years.
Right.
Like, that's totally crazy.
Because Jade was how old when you brought her to my house?
She was like maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was 6 months. Oh my gosh. So I didn't know that I wanted to work with her. I just knew that every time my friend kept talking to Lisa,
I was on the road doing something,
Yes.
keynoting. I was just always in massive movement.
Exactly. And I remember one day saying, "Can I talk to Lisa?" And it's crazy now because I took the phone in another room because I didn't want the lady to listen to me.
Right.
And I prayed for Lisa. And really that was the introduction of really our relationship.
So I knew my grandmother used to talk about intercessory prayer warriors. And I didn't really know what that was. Well, I had an image of them, and they were older, they were big, and they were spiritual. That was just my image. Nothing, just right. They were the mother God, the mother earth of God. And so I had this vision. So I didn't know that she can be my age and beautiful and a friend until she kept praying for me.
Right.
And I was like, I think this sister is an intercessory prayer warrior. Like, she's a prayer. She's on her face, on her knees, praying for the people she loved. And so she became our mutual friends. I would say, where's your praying friend? Where's praying Margaret? Where's praying Margaret? And then Margaret said something to our mutual friend once. She said, I just wish, now this was it. She goes, I want to take off work. She wanted to take off a vacation day.
Yes. And go drive Lisa to her, because she literally was driving herself to all of her appointments.
Keynoting,
Yes.
doing the sales in the back of the room, selling the books out my trunk.
And she was so tired. I was just like, I want to come support her and just drive her around. Like, first of all, Los Angeles scared me.
Right.
That was the first thing. But I really wanted to be there for you. To feed her. Like, I felt like a real nurturing relationship. And I just wanted to be there to support her.
And she was willing to take a vacation day
Right.
to drive me from San Diego to Los Angeles. And what about Los Angeles scared her was that it moved so much faster.
Yes.
Right.
It moved so much faster. The traffic was faster. There was more congestion. So she would, but she said, I'll go through it for you. And so about a year later, my company is growing exponentially. It's after I was on Oprah, after I was on Larry King, and I couldn't handle the influx of requests.
Right.
I just couldn't keep up with them, and I needed help. And so I was like, what do I do? Where do I go? And it didn't even go from, I jumped past having a virtual part-time need.
Right.
to
You're like, I need somebody right here.
I need somebody move in with me,
Right.
to become my, the right side of me. And so I knew who I wanted, but I didn't think I could get her. I was like, she wouldn't choose me. And so our mutual friend was like, you might be surprised. I'm like, yeah. And I didn't want the rejection.
Right.
So I'd rather not ask to avoid the rejection, because I already made the decision that it wasn't going to work.
So you disqualified her before
I disqualified me.
Right.
Then I disqualified her. I disqualified that I was worthy of her giving up her career. And she was an executive manager for the CEO of a very successful company, golf company in San Diego. And so I'm like, well, why would she choose me over them? And so in a moment,
I was willing.
Yeah, in a moment of courage, I just asked her, and I kept focusing on, she says she's going to pray for me all the time. And prayers don't pay the bill. So but I also knew that I believed I could make her salary. And I asked her, and
Listen, I was on my way to the NAACP Awards is where I was going. And I got a phone call, and it was Lisa asking me to work for her. And I said, yes, I would totally come work for you. When do you want me to start?
and I started stuttering.
She said tomorrow.
Right. I said, you will? She said, yeah. I said, can you come tomorrow? She said, no, I need to give my notice.
Uh-huh.
Because I wasn't even looking for a job.
Right.
And her company wasn't looking to let her go. So she gave 2 weeks.
I did.
And then we had our company dinner. My little independent contractors. So I had several independent contractors. She was the first employee, and it was a welcome dinner for her and our kind of strategy meeting. And we had this restaurant, our favorite restaurant we would go to.
Yes.
And
it happened to be my company's business party.
At the same
restaurant.
At the same night. The same time. So I didn't know. And she was new. So she's coordinating one. She's not coordinating the other. So she's coordinating that one. She's the guest at this one.
Right.
And then she looks up and realizes, oh, they're at the same place. So we walk into the restaurant. The company she worked for was pretty big. And so they have this private room and this amazing area. And I got a great table.
Right.
Yep.
But I got a new executive manager too. And so I didn't know that was her company, right? So we walked past and go over to our table. And she said, and I was so excited to introduce her to everyone and so excited what we're going to do together. And she says, I'm so excited to be here. And my company that I just left, they're in the other room. And I noticed the company that we walked by. I'm like, one day I'm going to be able to rent a room in a restaurant one day. And so I said, well, since you were his executive manager, then you know his favorite bottle of wine. She said, I do. I said, well, send him one on me. And she sent him a bottle of wine, and he came over.
Right.
And he graciously, we had a great CEO to CEO moment.
Wow.
And he says, you got her. You got a good one. Take good care of her. And I said, I promise I will take great care of her. Thank you so much. And enjoy the bottle of wine.
What's been one of your favorite memories that you've had being on the road? Because you've gotten to see some amazing places with Lisa. You've really seen everything. What's one of your favorite memories of your travels with her?
I'd have to say it was in the beginning when we went to Canada. And I just remember, I think because there was at least 1,000 people that were in that room that she was speaking in front of. And I just remember, for me, feeling so honored because what she was teaching, like, that was my classroom, but I'm working.
Right.
And so I was so blessed because I was sitting there thinking, wow, she's my boss. That was really incredible for me. And I think the second thing to that is Lisa likes to tell a lot of jokes. She likes to storm. It's true. So what she had done, okay, so my role is I literally get Lisa set up. I get the travel. I get everything for her. And we were in the airport, and Lisa, it's crazy because she always does this, and I'm noticing to everybody.
First of all, you have to say you're a rule follower.
I am a rule follower.
She follows the rule to the order, their structure. She's not defiant. She's not disruptive.
Rules keep me safe.
She's not disruptive. She's not defiant. She's not mischievous. She is a rule follower. So let's say that. I am the opposite.
Yes. That being said, she had taken my passport, and we were getting in line to go through the
TSA.
Yeah, TSA. So
this was right after 9/11, so it was very, very
Oh my
strict.
goodness.
Right after 9/11, so it was super.
Right,
I mean,
right,
almost
right.
everyone got frisked almost.
Oh yeah.
Right
after.
exactly. And so Lisa handed me my passport and my ticket, and she took my passport and my ticket, and she went through
with her passport, because they're checking.
Right.
They look at the passport,
Right.
right? At this time, they're looking at passports. So I switched passports and I gave her mine to see if they can tell the difference.
Oh my gosh! So she got across to the other side.
And showed her passport. And her eyes went like this.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So I think that was.
Wait, so I know. Wait.
So they act like they checked mine.
Right.
They didn't because obviously, right. And then she's like,
right. I'm looking at them like, you don't know that that's not me.
Right.
And then they come through. They look at it.
They let me go.
And I'm laughing. She's like, stop it. Stop it. So she's really, Margaret has always been just soft and kind and gentle, except for this one time. We're in Hawaii. And Margaret has always been very clear. I'm behind the scenes with you. That's my role, is keep me behind the scenes. And she'd say it really nice. Do you remember this?
I did.
Look, she gets attitude.
Look, did you see the head roll a little bit?
Right. So she was like, and I was like, she's so sweet. She's like angelic, right? I'm on stage. I just called Margaret up to hand me something, but I think she thought I wanted her to speak. I wanted her to speak on stage. She walks up to me and she goes, let me tell you something. If you ever want me to speak on that stage, I will quit. And I just looked at her, I was like, okay. So
that was real.
Right.
It was real. It was from my heart. I felt every fiber of it. In fact, I feel every fiber of it right now.
Right.
So, and 12 years later, right, we come a long way. So I never asked her to speak on stage, right? But it was just a 2-man show for a while.
Right.
So when I did the teleseminars, instant teleseminar and talk shoe.
Talk shoe.
Right. I needed Margaret to introduce me so it didn't look like a 1-man show, right? And so she would introduce me, open up the lines, introduce me. And for the next 45 minutes, she would be on the floor.
For real.
Like she just hyperventilating from introducing me on
I told her,
talk
I was like, Lisa, I'm sick. I can't introduce you.
Right.
And I go, it's okay. They can't catch your cold. Lisa, my voice going. I said, it's okay. Whisper.
Exactly. She's gotten me to do a lot of things.
Right. She definitely knows how to push some buttons. As a matter of fact, one of the calls that I do remember you opening up for on TalkShoe was the Rise and Shine calls.
Yes.
And at that time, I was becoming a trainer, learning how to be a trainer. And one of the programs that you guys did was Rise and Shine. And I was learning my curriculum, but also taking this program at the same time, which was the self-development and learning to heal and figuring out what a mountaintop and a valley was, just all of this stuff, and feeling a little overwhelmed, also a little denial of some of the emotions that were coming up, and so I decided not to play full out in that particular program, right? And so I got a call from Margaret, and of course, when you see Margaret's number show up, you get excited, and you're like, "Hey," I'm like, "How you doing, Margaret?" And she's all, "Hold on, Lisa wants to talk to you."
Now, mind you, I hear this story and I find it hard to believe because I think, how can I call all my clients? But I realized this was 12 years ago. I didn't have as many, and you were in the trainers program with me.
Yes.
So I treat my the trainers differently because you're a steward and a shepherd for the word. Yes. I'm just saying that before he tell you what all I said. I'm trying to lighten the blow. Go ahead.
I was a shepherd that was pooping in my pants because how Lisa gonna call and just all of a sudden just want to talk to you? And so I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Go, "Where's your homework?" Not even a hi, not a nothing, not just, "Where's your homework?"
You in the program for breakthrough, you can't get no breakthrough without your homework.
I'm going through and I'm looking at everybody's stuff and I don't see your stuff. I don't see your stuff for week 4 and I don't see your stuff for week 5.
Now this is the part that gets intense that I apologize.
And then she said, either you're going to play full out or you're going to get out. You decide and then let us know. Here's Margaret. That was it, y'all. I thought, I'm done.
I was still working on my coop and my cats. I was a work in progress as I still am today.
But it got me into action. It got me into action. It got me reconnected with, why do I want to do this?
Right.
And
am I serious about it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because we're brilliant. People don't come to this work who are not brilliant. I mean, we're smart. Our excuses sound sexy. And when someone says, I want to teach the work, I hold them to a different standard. Because you cannot require someone to be in action when you compromise action.
Right.
But I probably could have said it like that.
Right. We're still here. So what do you think is your favorite moment? Because you've had a lot of people that have come and gone.
Yes.
And a lot of great memories with so many of them. And in another episode, I want to actually expand on some of the team and the blessings that have come from each of them. Yeah. What do you think one of your favorite moments with your team is? Whether that be even a team now or a team from when you first got started. Like that just, when you think about it, it just brings a smile to your face.
Yeah. God, so many. I've had... for whatever the duration they were with me, I've had some of the most phenomenal people on the planet.
I agree.
Serve on my team. So I've just had some really, really great highlights. Hard to pinpoint one. I just top line a few. This was in reference to a team member, I should say. I had, when Jelani was 4 or 5, maybe 5, we always had people of different nationalities around us, right? Latin, Asian, Black, white. And Jelani was never taught color. At that age. It just wasn't, the teaching hadn't come yet. So everyone to him was the same color, just different shades. And I had 2 people in my life. Patricia was my first independent contractor, but she was like my operations manager. And then I had a Patty who was, and she was white, and I had a Patty who was Black, and she did PR for me. And Jelani said, Mommy, can I go to Auntie Patty's house? And I said, which Auntie Patty? And he goes, the really, 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 really light brown one. and she wasn't light brown, she was white. But it was one of the things that it showed the beauty of, everybody was brown. There was just different shades of brown.
Right.
And, another highlight with team was when we did our first team picnic. And it was a highlight for me because I decided to do a team picnic, and I had to fight for that team picnic because everyone's like, we're busy, it's not a revenue generator, we ain't got time for this, who's going to organize it?
Right.
We're a small company. But I was adamant about that picnic because I worked in a company. I was on the customer service desk. It was 3 of us that were the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
And customer service, the receptionist, and the mail clerk. And I remember we had to make the flyers and send the flyers to all the executives that they were having a company picnic. But we weren't invited. It was an executive company picnic.
Right.
And I always said, why wasn't I invited? I'm in the company. How are you going to make me send an invitation to something I'm not invited to?
Right.
And it just landed really, really hard on me. So when we did our company picnic, it was coming up to the company picnic. Everyone was like, Am I telling the truth, Margaret?
She's telling the truth.
And I'm like, I don't care. Right. We're gonna have a company family picnic, and you're gonna be happy. Right? And then I had everyone bring their family, and it didn't make financial sense.
Right.
But I've done so many things in my company that may not make financial sense, but it made humanitarian sense.
Yeah.
It made relationship sense. And so one of the highlights was watching my team with their children laying across the blanket, eating, relaxing, and literally just watching them play freeze tag and watching them toss water balloons and just literally having fun together.
Yeah.
And then another highlight was the few people on the team that joined me and some of the students from one of our master programs on the bus with the pole.
We might need to save that story for another time.
There was a bus, there was a pole, and we printed Lisa bucks. And we made it rain.
We'll just leave it at that. Well, I want to say thank you for just indulging us in giving us some of the stories. I know one of the things that people really appreciate is, one, getting to know you outside of just the Lisa Nichols that we see, on the stage or on the Lisa Nichols show, and getting to hear kind of a little bit more of Lisa.
Yeah.
And
well, I can't wait. This whole year, I want to take you on the journey with me. The parts that I said I would never tell anybody, I'm gonna tell them. I'm going to bring my father into the conversation, my son into the conversation, my grandmother, my mother. I'm going to talk about the love journeys, the romantic journeys, and what they taught me while building this.
right,
And what building this taught me that helped me in the relationships.
right,
Yeah.
Just all of that. This is going to be a year of behind the delicious platinum curtain. We got to get some
Come on, platinum, right?
behind the platinum curtains. And so if you haven't already thought of some, think of some questions about a 20-year journey to this place.
Yeah.
And send them in, because if there's ever a time that I would answer it,
Yes.
is now.
Right.
And I want you to come back more.
One thing I do want to say before we close is Lisa Nichols is the same when she's on the stage and when she's off the stage. I think that's one thing that I really love about you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is your care and consideration for the people is real. And I remember when I first was working with you and someone had called and I gave them some type of answer and they called you back and then you had a conversation with me and it was just like, oh my goodness, I'm representing Lisa.
What was the conversation I had? To show them love, was it?
No, they were upset with me. Their conversation to you was that they were upset with me, and I don't really know what the conversation was. But when it circled back around, I felt good because you didn't make me feel bad. You totally made me feel empowered. But I realized that every person that you talk to, it's like, when you're on stage, you're in connection with them. And then when you're off stage, you're still in connection with them. And so that's one thing that I really do love about you.
Amen. One of the things that we hear a lot is the consistency. And this is a relationship. This business is a relationship that has exchanges in it, but it's a relationship. And we've grown.
Yes.
Like, we have grown. And one of the things that I love is that we've given ourselves permission to be imperfect.
Yes.
On this delicious journey. And how I've said to you, you can make 1,000 mistakes. Just make 999 different mistakes. Just don't keep making the same mistake. Make new mistakes. Let's welcome mistakes.
Yes.
And unless this year will be a good year, and I think I owe it to you, my community, to share the stuff that you normally never see on YouTube or on Instagram or on any other platform, on how we arrived at this place. Because we weren't Google downloaded here.
Right.
No.
We had to, there have been times when you wanted to quit. There have been times when you wanted to quit. And there's been times when I wanted to quit and cuss out my boss.
But we all still here.
Right,
We all
right,
still
right.
here because we made a decision that was bigger than the moment.
That's right.
And so I'm happy to be able to share those moments. And inside of that, I want to talk about when this man had to pick me up because I couldn't pick myself up. And when this woman had to get on the floor with me because I wasn't getting up. And a friend is someone who, when they can't pick you up, they lay down next to you. And so I'm excited to bring those journeys with you. I've never talked about them publicly, but I think this is the time.
Yeah.
It's the time.
We got an amazing season coming up for you, so get ready because we've got a powerful, powerful season ahead.
Yes.
Celebrating 20 years of lessons learned and light shine and permission given.
Yes.
And so one of the things that you'll always hear us say at the end of each of these episodes is that this is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. And so we want to hear from you. So what are some of the value? What did you get out of this conversation? Not only just the stories, but what can you create in your life based on what you're hearing here?
Yeah. What was the moment that just warmed your heart that says, yes, I want to go get that? Or yes, that's a confirmation that I'm on the right path.
Yes. This is your community.
We are your tribe.
And I'm your sister in prosperity and in possibility. And when we say that we believe in you and we love you, it's because
we do.
See you next time.